it's Heidi again. So tonight I decided to can a batch of beans that I told you I was gonna can. So first things first that you need to do is make sure your jars are clean. So these are my clean jars. You want to can your dry beans in pint jars. So here's my pint jars. Okay, so when you're canning beans, you have to use a pressure cooker. So I got an all-American pressure cooker here, and you want to put I put about that much water in it. You want about 2 inches water in the bottom. You don't have to cover the jars in the water in the pressure canner, because what it does, it creates steam and creates pressure, and that's how it seals your goods. It's able to get it at a super high temperature. So I got the canner water ready. Okay, so how I can my beans is I dry can them. So all that means is not a dry canning, but I don't pre-soak my beans before I can them. It just saves time, and I find the texture is really good if you don't pre-soak them, because they got cooked for a while. So I'm just gonna get my beans in my jars, and I'll be right back. All right, so here is the black beans I'm gonna can tonight. So I rinsed them off. I kind of ran some water over them, rinsed them off. Make sure all the pieces of husk and stuff are done, and any like weird looking beans are out of there. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take half a cup of these beans and put it in jars. This is one thing you're gonna definitely want to get for canning, is one of these funnels. They work great for keeping things clean and organized. So we want to do a half a cup. So 1/2 cup of your beans per jar. So half cup. Half cup. Because remember, these aren't pre-soaked, they haven't been cooked yet, so they're gonna expand a lot. So half a cup. Thing that I just need a few more. There. So that gives me 5 black ones. Then I'm going to get my next batch of beans ready. And then here's the other beans these are our cave beans. They're like a kidney bean. So these are the ones, so they're sorted and rinsed off and ready to be canned. So let's see if we got enough to finish these jars. Okay, so now what you need to do is to fill it with hot water. You can put salt in it if you want. It's like a 1/4 teaspoon per jar. I can't find my candy salt at the moment, so these will go, and that's optional. You don't have to add salt. That's just for taste, and you can always add salt when you cook them up. So I was gonna skip that because I don't know where mine are at. I'm getting the water hot, and while I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and get my lids ready to go, and I'll be back. Alright, so now you're gonna fill the jars with hot water up to about 1 inch from the top. Okay, and while that water's heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off my rims. And make sure there's no debris there and they're nice and smooth to make sure they seal good. So go ahead and wipe off the ones that are ready, like so. Okay, and then put your lids on. And then you're gonna put your lids on. Now, trick to special pressure canning, you just want it just barely on. So just fingertip tight. That's all you want to go. If you put it on too tight, they'll buckle and then they won't be able to store them. So they gotta allow to let the pressure, the steam out of them while they're cooking. Otherwise they'll just buckle up and then you can't. There's no saving them. You have to use them right up. So just put them on. Like so. Okay. Then you're gonna set them in your can. So that's what it looks like filled. Okay. Put the lid on. Oh, hold on. Got turned. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna put the lid on. Now the American canners, the All-American canners, there is an arrow and a divot. So there's a arrow and a divot here. You just line that up like so. Okay. Okay. And then you tighten them by going the opposite. And the trick is to make sure this line here is even all the way around. So again, do the opposites. Just trying to make sure it gets on there level. Because if you don't have it level, then steam will escape out the sides. So that's why that's important. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Looks good. Alright. You want to make sure that's set before you turn on the heat. And then you're going to turn it on high. What you want to do is you got to let it vent. Get that closer for you. So you want this. So you got to watch this vent. Once steam starts coming out here, you're going to vent it for 7 minutes. And then you're going to put a weight on. Now, depending, you want to look up and see what poundage you're supposed to can at. Where I'm at, we can at 10 pounds. So I'll put this weight on. That focus at that. See that 10 right there. So you just pop it on, just like that. The 10 mark when it's ready. It's ready. It's not ready yet. So I'll let this warm up, and I'll show you how it vents out when we get that far. Alright, while I'm waiting for that to warm up and start venting, I thought I'd talk a little bit about pressure canning. Your green beans, your dried beans, your non-acidic vegetables and such need to be pressure canned. It's just make sure they get up hot enough and kill off all the bacteria in the jars. So now I'm not going to get into, because I know there's some who say you can water bath them, but you have to water bath them for like over 3 hours. Make sure the water level doesn't drop. You gotta keep them boiling at that temperature. And where pressure canning, you can you cut that time in half. Like these beans, the dried beans need to pressure cook for 75 minutes, which is an hour and 15 minutes versus 3 hours or more. When we do green beans this summer, I'll still use this pressure canner. and it takes me, I think they gotta cook for like 25 minutes versus staying in the kitchen for over an hour. And you know, green beans grow in the summer, so it's hot in the kitchen, and you know, just trying to cut down on that, you know, heat in the kitchen. But and what I like about canning beans, like I said before, it's just nice to be able to have them, because you can just dump them, warm them up, and you're good to go. Put them in your chilies, put them in whatever you need a bean for. So it's gonna work out great. It just takes a minute for it to warm up. The canning part's not hard. It's getting all your jars washed really good. Make sure you got your lids and your rings washed and ready to go. Got your, like I had to sort through the beans. The one on kidney beans, there was a lot of beans I kind of had to sort through. There was, when we dried them, there was a lot of green. Some dried kind of green, and they were just kind of funky, so I was just removing those, and that took a few minutes. But the canning part itself is pretty simple and easy, and it's not hard. But like I said, and you don't want to use a pressure cooker when doing pressure canning. They're made different. It's recommended not to do it. The pressure canners are designed for the high pressure you need to process your food safely. Canned food is generally safe. You need to follow the rules, you know, follow the guidelines, make sure your food's hot, make sure when you can them everything's clean and prepared correctly. One thing you don't want to do is give your, you know, family food poisoning, and botulism is deadly. So just I'm not going to get it. I know there's people, you know, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to keep it the way this is what I do. I keep things safe, and so yeah. Just thought I'd share that while I was waiting for this to warm up. It always seems to take forever when you're waiting. So, alright, well, I'm going to get off here and put some stuff away while I wait for that to do, and I'll show you what you do next. So, we're starting to get some steam right here. You want to wait till it's a nice constant flow, and then you're going to start your 7 minutes to vent it out. It's important to vent it out because, alright, she's starting to steam pretty good now. So, we're going to go ahead and start our 7 minutes on our timer. Now, the purpose of letting it vent like this is to let some of the air out, so you can get the correct pressure. You don't want to have too much pressure in your cooker, in your canner, due to, you don't want, you could potentially have bad issues. You don't want to explode anything. So it's important to make sure you vent it. Make sure you look at your instructions that comes with your canner. My All-American canner recommends venting for 7 minutes. So our 7 minutes have started, and once it's done with the 7 minutes, we will put the weight on and let it come to pressure. Alright, so it has been venting for 7 minutes, so I'm going to put the weight on, like so. And again, the number 10's down because we need to be at 10 pounds of pressure. So now all we do is we just watch the dial until it gets to the 10. And once it hits the pressure, the jiggler will start jiggling. This will start moving and making noise. So that's what we're going to wait for. And once that happens, you just turn the heat down. Usually I can get down to into the medium. And you just let it, and then once you hit your pressure, you can start your cook time. If for whatever reason you drop below your recommended pressure, you will have to start over. Your time over. So you want to make sure you keep it at that pressure the whole cook time. Otherwise you'll have to restart your cook time. So now we just wait. Alright, so that's what I mean by it making a noise. So we're at pressure. So we're going to start our timer. It's 75 minutes. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and turn this down until it's stable. Now the goal is you want to get this jiggler to jiggle about once every 30 seconds, about once a minute. It doesn't need to be jiggling all the time, if it's not jiggling at least once a minute, then you need to adjust your temperature. You might be dropping too low. So, just keep eyeing your dial and listen for that jiggler. And then when the weight, once it's stable, you can just kind of keep it at earshot and keep listening for this thing and make sure everything's going okay. And check on it every so often. So you just wait your 75 minutes, and then once your time's up, you're gonna turn your heat off, and you just gotta let it sit until it goes back down to pressure. And I'll show you when it's done. So the pressure has gotten back down to 0. So we're just gonna take that off and let that sit for a minute while it kind of balances itself back out. And then we're just going to undo these. Carefully. And twist it. Well, these are super hot. When I bring them out, you'll notice they're still boiling. So you want to be really careful. They're still bubbling inside, and you don't want to leave them in the canner like overnight. You want to get them out so they can cool off faster. If they stay too warm, it can ruin it. So you want to make sure they cool off really quickly and let them cool. They're starting to seal already. The beans are cooked, and I'll show you them in the morning. We'll let them set in the counter overnight. It's already 1 o'clock, so we'll let them set, and then that's how you can dried beans. So I'll put this back in here. Close up. So as you can see, they're still bubbling. They're super hot, and they'll probably take quite a while to warm them up. But as you see, I only put a half a cup of beans to start. Dry beans, and they absorbed all the water and cooked. So there you go. Then we'll just let them sit overnight and cool off. And we'll check to make sure they all sealed in the morning. So here's the next day. They're cooled. And there's your beans. And, the thing with beans is that water in there will gel. And that's normal. It's just part of what's in the beans. There's the fiber and whatever else that's in there that makes them thick. But there you go. And then, once they're cold, I'm upset. You should be able to hold the lid. I mean, and it's sealed so there's no popping. And there you go. And then you take the rings off. You kind of wash them up. Wash them up and get all the stuff off of them, and then put them on the shelf. There you go. We're ready to go. Hey, I just want to say thanks for watching our video. I hope you learned something and enjoyed learning how to make canned beans. Hit subscribe and like, and tune in next time. Thanks.